we assess how students are good in biology. We don't assess the understanding of science. In fact, I coined the term AOU, assessment of understanding. That is very important. That is very important. Techniques which are something which are fundamental. And tools you can change. You can always change the tools. Once you imbibe, once you have that kind of skill, or once you have that kind of grip on the technique, you can use any tool. So we will see now different techniques and tools to execute the activity-based learning, active learning techniques, and also how to assess understanding of science of the students. That will be seen. So these 2-3 statements are very much important. In fact, Jaya Madam has talked about it. Scientific concepts. That is all about understanding. And as a teacher, we always say that teacher should be guide. आपको किसी ने कैसे खाना है सिखाया क्या? नहीं सिखाया, नहीं सिखाया. हम अपने आप सीखते हैं. There are 1,000 things I can give, which we also learn on our own. ये आपने दिया. पहली बार आप हाथ में ले रहे हो, लेकिन आपको मालूम हो जाएगा कैसा पकड़ना है, कैसे बोलना है, क्योंकि आपने किधर देखा होगा. तो अपने आप सीखते हो. So students, they also learn on their own. कहाँ सीखते हैं? किसमें आता है? ह्यूमन बॉडी, बायोलॉजी, ओके, बायोलॉजी बोलते हैं, साइंस है, और केमिस्ट्री, ओके. एनी अदर आंसर? बायोलॉजी हो गया, साइंस हो गया, केमिस्ट्री हो गया, एनी अदर आंसर? EVS, okay, environmental science, okay. Anatomy, that is related to biology, right? Psychology, okay, fine. Zoology, okay. तो जैसे कैविटी का शेप होगा, वैसे भी आवाज चेंज हो सकता है. हमारे मुंह में कैविटी है, वैसे टीथ है, टंग है, उसकी भी रचना, उसका भी शेप अलग अलग है. तो अलग अलग वॉइस निकल रहा है. Physics है. Human body is not less than any other chemical factory. है क्या? Chemical factory बंद हो जाती है. Weekly off होता है. Sunday weekly off. हमारे बॉडी की chemical factory बंद हो गई तो हमारे करिकुलम में 2 ही बार केमिस्ट्री में जिक्र आता है ह्यूमन बॉडी पर. मैं बताता हूँ आपको. एक तो pH मुंह का pH कितना होता है, ये होता है, तो टूथपेस्ट कितने का होना चाहिए, वो सिखाते हैं. दूसरा सिखाते हैं एसिडिटी बढ़ जाती है तो एंटासिड लेते हैं. बस यही 2 बार केमिस्ट्री आता है ह्यूमन बॉडी. बाकी ह्यूमन बॉडी केमिस्ट्री में किधर भी नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है? तो हमें वो लाना है, हमें लाना है. तो स्टूडेंट्स को समझना है कि आवर बॉडी इज लाइक अ फैक्ट्री. फिजिक्स है, हम देखते कैसे हैं, बोलते कैसे हैं, आप आपकी रचना सिखाते हैं. फिजिक्स है, रिफ्रैक्शन होता है, रिफ्लेक्शन होता है, लेंस है, ये मैं हाथ हिला रहा हूँ, दिस इज अ लीवर. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. लेकिन जब हम लीवर सिखाते हैं ना, तभी बस लीवर ही सिखाते हैं. ओके, तो हम लोग इसके तरफ आएंगे. हम थोड़ा टाइम देंगे आपको. नाउ व्हाट वी आर डूइंग एक्चुअली, वी आर ट्रांसमिटिंग. We are like transmitters. जैसे यहाँ से होता है. लेक्चर को जाने से पहले हमारे दिमाग में कुछ तो है, क्योंकि हम तो बड़ी तैयारी करके जाएंगे. लेक्चर जो लेना है. देखिए, जब हम स्टूडेंट होते हैं तो पढ़ते कम है. हाँ, बोलते जरूर, हमने ये पढ़ा, ये किया. पेरेंट्स को बोलते अरे कितना पढ़ाई किया. लेकिन अभी आपको मालूम पड़ेगा, टीचर होने के बाद आप ज्यादा पढ़ते हो. जब भी हम स्टूडेंट के हैं कुछ पढ़ाई नहीं, क्योंकि एज ए टीचर यू मस्ट प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ, क्योंकि कुछ तो कहना है ना. तो टीचर होने के बाद हम लोग ज्यादा पढ़ते हैं, ऐसा मैं बोलता हूँ. तो अभी टीचर के दिमाग में कुछ तो है. हाँ, ये है. और हम सोचते हैं बच्चों को कोई मालूम नहीं, बच्चों को कुछ मालूम नहीं है, बच्चों को सब नया ही है. तो हम लोग क्लास में जाते हैं और सब डेफिनेशन ये वो सब करते हैं, ये ऐसा है वैसा है वो है ये है, हाँ इंपॉर्टेंट है एग्जाम में आएगा, ऐसा भी बोलते हैं, अंडरलाइन कीजिए ये कीजिए वो कीजिए, और फिर एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि आफ्टर लर्निंग जो हमारे दिमाग में है वो पूरा जेरॉक्स कॉपी जैसा उनके दिमाग में जाना चाहिए। ये हो गया ना ट्रांसमिशन। जो मैं बात कर रहा हूं वही सेम बात आपके ईयर में जा रही है, दिमाग में जा रही है मालूम नहीं, लेकिन वो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि आफ्टर लर्निंग ये होना चाहिए। अभी होता है या नहीं होता है मालूम नहीं। Now madam will continue and she will demonstrate and we will know the reality.
Okay. So actually, before we take the test of the MIP, we are going to show you one activity. तो ये है show me board. Show का मतलब आप जानते हैं, to show me board. तो show me board actually is just एक A4 sheet of paper. आप ऐसे ट्रांसपेरेंट फाइल कवर में डाल सकते हैं या आप लैमिनेट कर सकते हैं, और आज आपके पास वो नहीं है तो ये जो बुक्स है ना इसके पीछे एकदम लैमिनेशन जैसा है, तो आप इसको यूज करेंगे एज शो मी बुक। तो अब से हम लोग जो भी आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे आपको ये शो मी बोर्ड पे लिखना है, बट दैट इज व्हाई वी हैव गिवन यू द मार्कर।
What is the actual name of actor who played Katappa? You already know Katappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara, so I can't ask that question. But what is the actual name of the actor who played Katappa?
हेलो, स्टार्ट करेंगे क्वेश्चन अपना नाम।
No one knows? Okay, so we'll do 1, 2, 3 na, and just you have 30 seconds think.
I think we'll start.
Yeah, okay, whosoever is done. 1, 2, 3.
Show me.
Show me.
सबको दिखाना है।
Blank. We have the winner.
अच्छा,
Such strangers haven't watched Bahubali. Okay. Good.
It's a good answer.
Good answer.
इनका
Satyara. Yes.
हाँ, तो ये एक्चुअली इनका आंसर करेक्ट है, बट मुझे स्ट्रेन हो रहा है उसको देखने में। So you should write it big.
So try to use capital letter while you are writing. Okay? I will ask sir. You want to ask a question?
Very simple question.
Okay, now you can clean out those who have written anything. Please clean it up. Okay. So one thing I want to make clear here: we are not testing your knowledge. Not of science, not of physics, chemistry, biology, history, Bollywood, Tollywood, anything. Okay? हम लोग सिर्फ वो मेथड को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, टेक्निक या टूल जो भी हम लोग दिखा रहे उसका डिस्कशन हो रहा है। तो गलत भी हो गया आंसर, डोंट फील बैड। Those kind of answers are also very well appreciated, क्योंकि क्लास में भी वो होगा कि बच्चे नहीं जानते आंसर, तो क्या करेंगे, उनको भी दिखाना है खाली। They will show the empty show me board even if they have not written the answer. ठीक है? इसका क्या फायदा है? What is the use of this way of asking questions? Is it because all the children will be involved
and they will be active. Then they will be.
Yes, sir. They will be able to know how much they have learned.
Okay, so this is for the children, for the teacher.
They can segregate the who is.
For the teacher. For the teacher, how is it useful?
Which student
Which student knows and which student doesn't know. नहीं तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, क्लास के बिगिनिंग में जाते हैं, 1, 2, 3 क्वेश्चन पूछा, अच्छा इसने हाथ उठाया, ऐसे हाथ, वही 3-4 बच्चे या 10 बच्चे हमेशा they will only answer because only they read and come or they have understood. वो लोग हाथ उठाएंगे, हम लोग हाँ बोलो आंसर, नहीं तो किसी जो नहीं हाथ उठाए उनको पूछेंगे, बोलेंगे तुमको नहीं आता, अच्छा है तुम आंसर बोलो, ओके। बट नाउ यू नो कि इसको आता है, इसको नहीं आता।
Not only that, many introverts too, they
Yes, yes, yes.
That is what.
Many students who are very shy, they don't want to talk. They're also scared कि अगर मैंने गलत दिया तो मेरे साथी लोग हंसेंगे मुझे. But अभी क्या है? किसी ने दूसरे का आंसर देखा? Did you see your neighbor's answer? Person in front, person behind. Only we saw. Teacher saw. So it is directly between the student and the teacher. Teacher, so student का भी feedback आ गया कि he knows or doesn't know or she knows doesn't know. Teacher को भी feedback मिल गया of the student and also for myself. How is it? इतने सारे बच्चे हैं, इसमें से अगर 3 बच्चे ने सही जवाब दिया, बाकी ने गलत दिया या नहीं जानते, मतलब मैंने ठीक से पढ़ाया नहीं. If most of the children answer properly, I know they have learnt and I know okay इनको नहीं समझ में आया, बाद में भी मैं बता सकती. But if all have not understood, I have to teach again in a different, using a different technique. Because it is my mistake. If there are 3-4 children, okay, we know that for some reason they are not understood. We have to see. We will be seeing कि ऐसे क्या reasons हो सकते हैं कि बच्चे ने पढ़ा, मतलब उनको समझ में नहीं आया. तो then उनको अलग से भी हम लोग पढ़ा सकते. So it is a good technique. So this was show me board. And does it take more time? आप जो क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं हमेशा क्लास में उतना ही टाइम लगेगा कि ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा? कम टाइम लगेगा. ओके, तो आप इजीली लागू कर सकते हैं. आपके पास लैमिनेटेड शीट होगा, ऐसा फाइल कवर मिलेगा. अगर गांव में पढ़ाते हैं तो नहीं मिलेगा, तो क्या करेंगे? हाँ, स्लेट और चॉक भी यूज कर सकते. It is especially good for open-ended questions. तो open-ended question का मतलब क्या है? There is no correct or wrong answer. You can just get the ideas also. तो उसके लिए भी it's a very good. Okay, so now we gave you definition of MIP. I hope you all learnt it up. क्योंकि अभी टेस्ट होने वाला है. इसमें you will draw it. उसका चित्र बनाइए और उल्टा रखिए. जो टेस्ट है आसपास के लोग को नहीं मिलेगा. वो मिथ जो दिखाए थे डेफिनेशन आपको एक बार रिवीजन चाहिए.
सर ये प्रीलिम है, प्रीलिम फाइनल एग्जाम बाद में होगा, तो ट्राई तो करिए सर.
करिए जो याद है उसको करिए.
हाँ, draw a diagram of MIP, whatever you recollect.
और whatever you understood. As I said कि हम लोग यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं, आपके नॉलेज टेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो जो याद आया उसमें से वो आप बताइए.
We will enjoy. We will also enjoy. यहाँ से वो दिखाई.
Ready? No, as a teacher, you have to wait till all the students. I am seeing कि some students are still working. आप कैसे नो डिस्कशन ना? ऐसा है. Okay, you have a doubt about the MIP or you have a doubt about the MIP? Turn it upside down and
Whatever you have done is done.
it's fine. As we said, this is like for us to understand. Okay, all are done?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, show me. अच्छा बड़ा सा डायग्राम बनाना तब यहाँ से दिखेगा ना मुझे. Okay, now what we are going to do is in this case keep it up only. This time just for you to, because we are going to have a discussion, to show your others what your diagram is. यहाँ के लोग यहाँ से दिखाइए थोड़ा आपका diagrams क्या है.
सबको दिखाइए क्या क्या
सबको डायग्राम है कि किसका क्या डायग्राम है?
अलग अलग आइडियाज हैं।
एक ही डेफिनेशन
डेफिनेशन एक ही है।
एक ही डेफिनेशन दिए थे हम लोग, लेकिन इतने अलग अलग।
बोलते हैं ना भगवान के रूप अलग है। भगवान है।
कंस्ट्रक्टिविस्ट थे।
So what we have witnessed, all of us, we enjoyed the activity. Okay, let me ask you one thing. What do you feel about this technique? Do you feel it as simple or difficult? Non-executable or executable? What do you feel? Very simple. Now we are going to tell you very simple things only. And making things simple is the most difficult thing. So we will demonstrate all the simple techniques which are very well executable in any situation, in any classroom. Okay, but only thing is we all wish that it should execute, because this is all for the students. It is not for you. It is not for us. It is all for our students. And as you have said, we have got many things from this particular activity. As you have said, you can get an idea how much students have understood.
He had put in his own concept or his own way of thinking.
Absolutely.
And get back something else.
Yeah. So we can summarize. Huh? We can summarize all your views. Like there can be a positive change in the minds of the student. That something is there in the minds of the student, and that is positively getting enhanced, which we desire. That is possible. Another thing is possible that whatever we want to convey, that is exactly getting conveyed in the minds of the students. The hardship. We like it. And there is a possibility that with the perception of the student, some wrong things, wrong notions may get fit in the play. As we all have witnessed, now madam will show you later what is myth exactly. We will remove that suspense. So, after getting content, we may have some kind of wrong notions in our mind getting developed. In fact, our third session, online session, will be based on misconceptions. We'll be doing it on online, and we can demonstrate different techniques how to identify misconceptions are getting generated in the students of the mind. What are diagnostic probes? Like doctors have stethoscope. We should also have stethoscope to check minds of the students, right? Then only we will be a good teacher. We have to look into the minds of the students. And that is one simple technique, show me board, that will enable us to look into the minds of the students. And we have discussed many things. So this particular picture summarizes all. And we will talk on misconceptions in detail in the third workshop, that will be online. Okay, so that is what the MIB is. Now this is the definition of MIB. We have underlined the keywords. Okay, plain geometric figure. This has got some different mathematical meaning, right? You know circle, and you also know disc. What is the difference between circle and a disc? Correct. Circle is like a bangle, and disc is like a plate. So we consider that surface area also. So we call it a plane geometric figure, right? Nobody has drew that thick, you can say opaque kind of things, but that is very important. Plane geometric figure made by attaching a segment. वो segment attach की गई, जैसे kite को पूंछ होती है ना tail, तो वो triangle को पूंछ लगाई है हमने. ना वो पूंछ कैसे? इसको है short leg में छोटी साइड. राइट एंगल ट्रायंगल को तीन साइड्स है, उसमें से दो छोटे हैं, एक तो बड़ा है हाइपोटेन्यूज. राइट एंगल ट्रायंगल वो तो है, उसको एक पूंछ लगाई, वो पूंछ कैसी है? एक्सटर्नल है और परपेंडिकुलर बाइसेक्टेड टू दैट शॉर्ट साइड. लेकिन जैसे मैडम ने बोला, हम लोग एक लाइन जब पढ़ते हैं ना, तो दूसरे लाइन के बारे में सोचते हैं, और दूसरे लाइन के बारे में जब सोचते हैं ना, तो पहली लाइन भूल जाते हैं. तो that is the thing, and that is what is happening in all our definitions. Because most of the time, students are listening these words for the first time in their lifetime. They are not using these words. Say momentum. कहाँ इस्तेमाल करते हैं हम लोग momentum? किसी बात करने के लिए मोमेंटम वर्ड आता है क्या? डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल ऐसे बात करते समय आता है क्या? वो किताब में ही आता है, वो किताब में ही आता है। ऐसे नहीं कहते ना, अरे बेटा भूख लगी है तो खाना खाओ, और वो खाना और भूख वो डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल होते हैं। जितनी भूख लगी है तो डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल खाना खाओगे, ऐसे बात करते हैं क्या? नहीं करते। बोला अरे ज्यादा भूख लगी है ज्यादा खाइए, ऐसी बात करेंगे ना। So these words are new, and this is very important to convey to our students. तो ये है with examples, ये देखिए some non examples भी हैं, वो कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं, कोई ऐसे कहते कि यही भी होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा, वैसे लिख के। Of course, we are not there to teach you math. We are not there to teach you mathematics. We are just a kind of facilitators to tell you the techniques. That's all. So, MIV is not our focus. Mathematics is not our focus. We have to learn different techniques.
And they already have a lot of ideas in their mind, which they have gathered from their surroundings, which they may have gathered from coaching institutes. They watch a lot of media these days. A 5-year kid knows what is a submarine and what is thrust. I got to know about it in grade 9 during my physics class. So the whole situation is quite changed based on the exposure they are getting. So when we talk about setting the scene, let's take a very small example. Now for instance, I'm teaching a topic somewhat like cell, a very basic topic. Now, it may seem interesting, it may seem boring. I can come into the classroom and I can draw the diagram of cell, or I can pick up a projector and I can show them a projector, the diagram of a cell, and tell them that this is the smallest unit available, and start talking about the ordinaries which are there. Or, I can start with a story. I can start with the story of a mansion, a beautiful mansion which had a king living there, and the name of the king was Nucleus. And the king was one of the most powerful person there because he used to control everything which was happening in that cell. Now, the king used to eat a lot of food and he was always hungry. Because he needed a lot of food, so he had a big kitchen manufacturing a lot of food, and he had appointed a lot of chefs to help him out. So who was working in the kitchen? What was the name of the kitchen? Any guesses? Mitochondria, chloroplast, we have the versions, and we can just differentiate later in the classroom between an animal cell and the plant cell, and talking about the energy. So the cell needed the whole amount of energy to run that campus. The mansion was not solar operated. The mansion needed some energy to flow there. So where the energy was coming from? From a lot of ATPs which were getting released, and that was coming from mitochondria. But everybody felt that they are the most essential people over there, but we know we cannot live in a house which is clean, right? So if the house is not clean, the mansion is not clean, it becomes pathetic. And who used to help them out to clean every day? Lysosomes. So that's how the whole cell used to operate. The first moment when you are able to connect with your children with the topic, story that we discussed with each other. We discussed about both the cell and the connectivity and describing about the idea. The next piece is that we are talking about the same idea discussed with you. Now, what about the difference? Now these plants, they are lucky enough to have all these chlorophylls, all these substances. What about animals? Where are they getting their food from? How are they getting their food? And how that food is reaching that particular cell?
No, I'm saying as a card, there are two things. I don't want to know about this content.
Amongst each other, coming to a very correctly identify short period of time. So many
Okay, so you
questions.
feel that in a shorter period you have achieved more. And put it in the package.
Form, they can pack it and they can actually print it.
kind of networking between you. So you should be in touch with each other.
Question answer or something is
ये देखिए ना लंबाई कितनी है? A4 साइज पेपर की जो विड्थ है नहीं है। पेपर स्ट्रिप को फोल्ड हमें मालूम है किसी ऑब्जेक्ट को पुश किया हमने तो वो नीचे चली जाएगी। ये जो स्ट्रिप है ये दो फिंगर्स में पकड़ लिया ऐसी ऐसे ये छोड़ दीजिए ये ऐसे पकड़िए। ये जो एज है पेपर की that edge you have to coincide with the upper lip upper मैडम upper ये ऐसे देखिए अपना मुंह नीचे होना चाहिए। हाँ कुछ मत कीजिए। अभी आप ब्लो एयर करोगे क्या तो क्या होगा बताइए मुझे। ऊपर आएगा ठीक है। और किसी को कुछ कहना है ठीक है एक मिनट। तो अभी ऐसे हमने ब्लो किया एयर तो ये ऊपर आएगा ऐसा आपने कहना है मैडम का नहीं बाकी सब देखा आपने ठीक है। चलो ये एक बात होगी ये ऊपर हो गया। अभी मैं नीचे करूंगा पार्टी में चला उनसे पूछे क्या है अपना गठबंधन का नियम। अब पार्टी के खिलाफ नहीं बोल सकते सर ठीक है। सर ने बोला ऊपर आएगा ये भी बोल रहा है ऊपर आएगा नीचे वैसे ही रहेगा। सर ने बोलिए ऊपर ऊपर आ रहा है ना। ये हवाई जहाज कैसे उड़ता है ना इसका डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन खाली एक पेपर बर्नौलीज प्रिंसिपल के हमने टेस्ट ट्यूब भी रखी है। टेस्ट ट्यूब हर घर में नहीं होती है। और ऐसे प्रयोग कीजिए जो बच्चा घर में कर सकता है। ऐसे दिखाइए तो बच्चा घर में करता है आजू बाजू को बच्चे को भी बुलाता है और दिखाता है। तो ये उसका कैस्केडिंग मॉडल है और ये नॉलेज प्रोपेगेट होता है। मैं क्या करता हूँ देखिए ये जो माउथ है बॉटल का ये माउथ के ऊपर एक चॉक का टुकड़ा लिया है। चॉक का टुकड़ा नहीं है तो पेपर बॉल करके छोटा ऐसा पेपर का बॉल कीजिए और यहाँ इधर हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं। सर आपका नाम सर आइए आपका नाम बताइए। आ जाइए सर।
Maybe we have overlooked is to start right at the school level. You know, we talk about craft and fashion and different areas of culture and heritage. The new curriculum will also have enough flexibility and freedom to incorporate this. Not only schools, but also to create awareness at the community level and to revive what has been, you know, the richness of our cultural and traditional knowledge. And finally, we also have to look at outcomes. We cannot perhaps attempt any kind of radical changes.
It is my great pleasure to be here, and just now blessed by Swamiji, and it was nice to have discussion with Swamiji and learning a lot of things about the culture of Assam and basically, and just the contribution of Shankar Devji and his place in history, and what is the reason behind it? We have forgotten our own people, those who have contributed to the society for a culture, for a religion or whatever. Okay, and the person who has joined the people to people. So just as a teacher, as a administrator, as a dean, the first time I just once we had a meeting with heads of the department, I just told that can you contribute something to us the history of Northeast region. That's why particularly the farming system in Bihar and the UP and other Punjab is not sustainable, because we are facing a lot of problems, and again we are coming back to the organic farming system, and particularly the experiences from Sikkim. We have seen that entire Northeastern practices and apart from Northeast, other parts of the country also practices. Because we have seen that a lot of things, just like I will give you one example, that the language, our Bhojpuri language was just about to vanish, because only people were, but once, or the Hindi language, particularly once Britishers have come on, particularly the language, or even if the local language like Assamese and other, was about to verge over, because Once we have given the value of it, once we have added with the livelihood of the people, definitely those, again there is a lot of demand for those languages. Once we used to say that, suppose a ground ruler, just old age people die, he do not die only, but he die with a lot of knowledge. What you call the library of knowledge, he dies. That's all just because we have other speakers also. So, thank you very much for inviting me, and in the last video, if any question, I will.
And we are teacher developers, and there are Swaminathan, Mr. Raymond Lamlongkar, and Mr. Surimi Arora. Okay, so we'll all be doing a little bit with you. And so I'm just going to start with that. So all of us are very much into education. We have been teachers before, and we've done a lot of training sessions with teachers of various types of schools. And also most of the activities which we are going to talk about for you to use in your classroom have been developed by teachers themselves and have been used in classroom. So hopefully you will find it useful. But this is not a talk. We are not going to talk and you are going to listen. Okay, the whole work, it's a workshop, means you are also going to do. You are going to talk with us, you are going to discuss with us, you are going to do the activities. If you feel what we are saying is wrong, please say no, what we are saying is wrong, it's not like this, it's like this. Don't think we should not say anything against. We want a discussion. So please give all your views. You can talk in, we understand English, Hindi, but we don't understand Assamese. I can understand a bit of Bengali. So if you have questions, you can ask. If you are not wanting to talk in English, you can talk in Hindi. I think Assamese they will understand. You will understand Assamese? Okay, good. So we are volunteers to understand this. So Royal Society of Chemistry is quite
Inspirational Chemistry program is completely unique from the IIT point of view because it's the only educational program that we deliver outside of the UK and Ireland.
This project started 5 to 6 years ago. And myself, we decided to initiate a program called the RSC Yusuf Hamid Inspirational Chemistry Program.
The first step was to train teacher developers who will then train science teachers in schools and to provide them the necessary tools and pedagogic skills to make chemistry engaging. The Salters Chemistry Camps for Students. Now, after 5 years of this two-pronged approach of training school teachers and inspiring school students, we have to assess and evaluate the work done to plan the next steps.
We have trained 3 times more teachers to be inspirational teachers of chemistry than we ever envisaged. So in the last 5 years we've trained 23,000 chemistry teachers in 26 states across India. We've worked with Salters to deliver chemistry camps in India, and in which we have worked with 1,600 of the brightest students. It's been a fantastic opportunity to work with Dr. Yusuf Hamid. His own desire and passion for increasing the professionalism and the inspiration of chemistry teaching in India has been a big driver in this project, and we wouldn't have been able to deliver this without him at all.
This scheme, which is just terminating, has to be extended, and what you'll be happy to know that we are planning to extend for the next 4 years a scheme under the title RSC Yusuf Hamid Inspirational Science Program, and I've asked RSC to extend their teaching mechanism not only to chemistry but also to physics, mathematics and biology. I hope that the next 4 years will be as successful as the past 5 years.
Other than related to their website. Okay, so you don't have to worry about promotional things or anything, but only if you sign in will you be able to use the resources. So once you sign in, it's free to use. Okay. So we will be using some of those resources today also. So besides this, there is the online magazine, which is the Education in Chemistry magazine. So this gives you a lot of topics on what is happening in science at present, and also how to teach some difficult topics, ideas from other teachers, how they taught a certain topic.
So we have to emphasize on learning. So what is going on right now? This is not, we all agree that learning होना चाहिए, लेकिन वास्तविकता में क्या होता है? Students are memorizing the things. So our tests, our assessments, our exams are based on memorization. और हम भी बहुत अच्छा काम करते हैं. हम बच्चे को बोलते हैं, अरे, you take this question back, very important question. So students are very smart. So they are in a smartphone era. So they know that our teacher will ask questions from this only in the exam. So that way, indirectly, we are encouraging memorization. As a teacher, what we do? We assess the students' performance. But which performance? How good the students are in memorizing. The one who has got a very good memorization will get good marks. Forget about understanding. Now there are many students, you might have observed this also in your classroom. They are not good in writing, but they have some other skills. They can do experiments very well. Somebody draws picture very well. So that kind of thing we have to encourage. And that is why we need active learning. So for that matter, our learning should not be only active, but our assessment should be also active. So whatever we assess, the performance of the student, that assessment should be also through activities. And we will show you some simple techniques how you assess the understanding of the students through activities. So our methodology should be such that we are making student of change of momentum is directly proportional to impressed force and takes place in the direction of impressed force. And we ask them, have you understood? अरे इतने जोर से आप चिल्ला रहे हो क्यों? आपको मायूस नहीं करते हो? प्रॉब्लम ये वो मोमेंटम वर्ड है, तो उन्होंने पहली बार सुना. आप बोल रहे समझे क्या? वो बोल रहे समझ गए? डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल एक ही चीज है. हम लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं बेटा बहुत भूख लगे ना तो आप खाना खाइए और आप जितना खाना खाओगे वो डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल है आपके हंगर के लिए. जितना हंगर है वो इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल, वो खाना इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू योर हंगर. ऐसा बोलते हैं क्या? ऐसी बात नहीं करते. आप ज्यादा भूख लगे ज्यादा खाओगे ऐसे ही बोलते हैं ना. लेकिन वो भूख नहीं है डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल. वो क्या है? और आप बच्चों को पूछेंगे हाँ समझ गया, नहीं तो क्या करेंगे? आप सवाल पूछेंगे, 2-4 बच्चे जवाब देंगे, बस हम लोग आगे चलेंगे.
तो एक्चुअली इतना थोड़ा मुश्किल है to read. There also I cannot read only. 26. My son is born with this. I can't read. I'll just send you on Thursday.
Good answer.
Thursday. So see, his answer. Thursday. Okay, so until we told her to show the answer, the earlier 2 questions, did anyone see each other's answers? Did you see their birthday? Did you see their birthday? Who saw only? Yes, the teachers. Okay, so as you said, we Even students who feel that scared to answer because they may be wrong, they will answer. Anything else? Supposing no chaos and your class is very a very well-behaved class, and they raise them, and then there won't be so much noise. But what happens then?
Increasing their confidence, giving the answers, they are cooperating with the teacher. Communicating with the
Yes, they're communicating with the teacher, teacher knows. But when you ask questions and people raise their hand and they answer, then how many children answer? Here, how many children answer? Okay. So now if I want to use this, how can I use it? Now we slate और chalk भी use कर सकते हैं. तो आपका बस ये टेक्निक है that you get everyone involved. Everyone participates, everyone involved. तो सर जैसे बोला inclusive education मतलब सबको we have to get it. So these are main points. Okay, now we come back to the main. So now you know how to use the show me board. So now comes the test. On the show me board. And it's a test, so उधर नहीं देखना है. अपना
भगवान का नाम लेना है. थोड़ा टेंशन भी होना चाहिए.
I know.
अभी क्लास होने के बाद क्या हो जाता है दीदी? इसका मतलब क्या है? How do you interpret this diagram? The third figure. हमारा दिमाग वैसा है. Before learning, बच्चे का दिमाग ऐसा है. And after learning, this is the representation. How will you interpret this?
They learn and now they are happy.
They are happy.
Yes.
Fine, fine.
But they have been not happy.
लेकिन मैडम एक चीज है, आपका सही है, लेकिन एक चीज है, बच्चों को समझना भी तो चाहिए, मुझे समझा या नहीं समझा.
वो भी मेरे तरह सब समझ रहा है, लेकिन उसको तो हम नहीं समझ पा
हाँ,
रहे हैं.
हाँ.
I think there is positivity, negativity, as well as I think the boy and the girl feeling some love also.
Yes.
वो है.
At one time I was teaching this plus 2 class. They had a boys' school and girls' school opposite each other. Separate schools opposite each other. Ground एक था. So I was teaching in the boys' school, 12th standard class. So one boy is coming and complaining to me, Madam, see, he's seeing the girls running in the. I said, अच्छा इस उम्र में नहीं देखेगा तो कब देखेगा? We are 17, 18. That is the time we want to look at the girls. Girls are to the other school. When they come to our kids, I can see them. So this is also there.
Your first 2 points I can appreciate, but having some different opinion about the third point. See, some things are positively occurring in the minds of the students. They are really learning new things, appropriate things, accurate. But they might have some pre-notions in their mind. Okay, some things may go in different manner. Like you have observed. We have shown you the definition. Now we don't know who is correct and who is wrong. It may be everybody might be wrong. Everybody cannot be correct because all backgrounds are different. They are different. So there is a possibility that you are teaching something and they are conceiving, they are perceiving in exactly opposite manner. So that is the negative impact we can say. And the heart is, that is what I am looking for. That is the symbol, that yes, I am happy with this, that whatever I am trying to explain, everything has been conveyed and everything has been understood. But see, all these things will play in that, and the we can say, one liner is, we have to look into the minds of the students. We are not thinking about what is going on in their minds, but we have to think about what is going on in their minds. And one way of look appreciate, yes, whatever I want to say, now my teacher is appreciating. Whatever I want to say, I could express myself. So that kind of attitude, that kind of sentiment should also get generated in the minds of the students. And that is why we are using this particular technique, that is showing. So something is happening in the minds of the students, and that knowledge construction should take place, and that is why we use active learning techniques to promote the thinking, to promote them to work with hands and work with minds. Okay, and as a teacher, we must look into what is going on in the minds of the students. Now see, the answer. So we have underlined the important points. Plane geometric figure. Now it is plane, that means there is a difference between circle and a disc. Everybody? Circle is what? Circle is like a bangle. And what is disc? Two of which are short, hypotenuse is the largest. So you can attach one segment to short leg. And how that segment is? It is external. Perpendicular bisector of the short. So you can see here the midst. You can see here the midst. And there is some kind of confusion here, non-examples. We can see.
क्लास में, I was teaching primary class. आप अंदर जाके 2-3 लगा दीजिए इन लोगों को। वो चुपचाप बैठेंगे।
The time was different. वो 2-3 लगाने वाला। The time was around type of school हो भी बढ़िया time था वैसे।
मैं लगाता हूँ कभी।
Okay, let's hold that topic here. Let's hold that topic here.
नहीं allow नहीं है बोलने वाला।
हाँ, no. हमने सुना नहीं ना, ignore कर देंगे। हम ignore करेंगे that. So we are ignoring this part, and you should also try not to bring it. So we are going back to this constructivist theme. So just listen to me and write later, note making later. So अभी क्या है कि supposedly if I have to teach a topic, any sort of a topic, तो मुझे set the scene मतलब you have to develop your interest of your children so that they are interested in the topic that you are discussing with them. Okay. So for instance, if I have to describe a topic such as self, how will I describe? एक तो है कि I will just go on the board, I will just put down everything. मैं एक अच्छे सा chart लेके आऊँगी, colorful diagram, or a PowerPoint presentation, or maybe some YouTube video showing the demonstration of the self. Or we can also go with a very economical effort कि जिसके अंदर हमें कुछ भी खर्चा करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, कुछ भी teaching aid बनाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तो story tell. So I can start with a story of a self that once upon a time there was a big mansion, and the king of that mansion was self. So basically there was a big mansion of self. In that mansion there used to be various departments and various people who used to perform different jobs, and all of them consider that we are the best. मैं सबसे अच्छा काम करता हूँ. तो न्यूक्लियस कहता था कि मैं सबसे बड़ा इंटेलिजेंट फेलो हूँ, मैं आपका मास्टरमाइंड, आई एम द CIA of this mansion, क्योंकि मैं सारा का सारा प्लानिंग सब कुछ करता हूँ वहाँ पे. So I am the mastermind. But somehow the mitochondria felt कि भैया मेरे बिना तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं चलेगा, because I am providing you what? Power. And yeah, I am providing you ATP, I am providing you power. Power नहीं होगा तो गाड़ी नहीं चलता है, कुछ नहीं चलता है, तो तुम कहाँ से चलोगे? So your cell cannot operate till the time I am giving you that power. Now, but somehow the chloroplast is a different story. What does it say? Like in case of plants, what does it say? Yeah, I won't make any food. How will any one of you run, and how will only one of you survive? So you need me. Do you like it? You don't like it? You need me by end of the day. But there was one more interesting fellow who said, देखो खाना पीना अपनी जगह पे है, सेहत अपनी जगह पे, एनर्जी अपनी.
Last workshop.
Okay, so let's go to further topic, which is, now let's spend some time and talk about active learning. I think we have discussed with all of you and you have some chances, but once again, from my understanding, what is
point is number of students are involved, both not only like mentally but physically also in using class.
So it's more like hands-on and minds-on. You wanted to say something?
Yes, I did.
I will just show you. Okay. So hands-on and minds-on both is an interest area where active learning is there. These students have prepared an active learning demonstration with me, which I want to show you. Come. So we would love to share something that even without investing any capital, we can perform any activity. So we'll start with the first demonstration. You have positive part. There is a negative part of the cell, and you are. This is the current which will now flow. Okay. So and I am basically a switch. Okay. And there's the glowing bulb. It's already dressed like a bulb. Okay. So when we switch on, the current flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal and the bulb glows. Okay. So very simple demonstration in which students can participate and perform. Right teachers? We do a second one. Good? Come. So now magnetism. Very simple. हम लोग क्या करते हैं? हम जब magnetism पढ़ाते हैं हमारा simple क्या होता है? हम क्या करते हैं? क्लास में magnet लेके आते हैं, 10 बात करते हैं या फिर हम क्या करते हैं? वो rectangle बनाते हैं and then we show NN, SN and then we attract and repel. A very simple activity in which kids can participate. Can you please do it and perform it? So these are same poles. So they are basically repelling and they attract. Okay, the opposites attract and the similar are repelling from each other. Thank you. And then we have one more demonstration. Just quickly finish it on. One. Now, a very simple topic of chemistry: solid, liquid, and gas. Now, it has an important part which we need to understand. We understand those boxes, but then we have to give them a holistic view that atoms, molecules are everywhere, and then pressure and temperature are inversely related to each other. So these are my molecules moving here and there, here and there. Just start moving. So these are my basically atoms moving here and there, and when I'm actually increasing the pressure, so they come close to each other, increasing the pressure and reducing the temperature. So the bond is. So talking about active learning section, we'll go more further. We won't spend time here. Now we'll do a quick section of reflection. So if I talk about reflection, we'll just reflect back on what you have learned till now. So can we start one by one? We can start from there, sir. Can you just tell what we have learned till now?
Learning process, active participation should be taken.
Okay, good.
So that complete 100% students observe in the class and active.
So active participation should be there.
Students should be allowed to use their models. Whenever they have ideas in their mind, those type of ideas should be in their direction and these others their ideas to they should not get suppressed and must come.
Okay, that's true. Just for 1 minute to fill this.
Show me board because we have not done other activities.
Now only show me boards. Because that's the only activity we have done till now.
So these are some of the activities we'll be doing over the next 2-3 sessions. Okay. Other things. Today we are going to do 2-3 now, and we are going to do some experiments also. But other things we will be doing over the course of the next 2 weeks.
Okay. So I believe most of you have written. Read 30 seconds more.
That is our assumption that they are reading. What you see, that they are just putting their head down and they might be looking at the book, they might be thinking else, or they might be reading. We don't know. But we have said that go to this page and read. And we assume, and we do attendance ka kaam karna hai.
Slowly they start gossiping.
Okay, let us assume that they are really reading. Let us assume. Are they understanding what they are reading? We don't know. We don't know whether they are understanding or not. Let us assume that also, that they are understanding. So we assume that yes, students are reading the book, reading that content, reading that chapter, and they are understanding it. But will they able to apply the knowledge that they have gained? Will they able to apply what they have understood? We don't know. So there are three aspects, three questions. One, we should know as a teacher that yes, students are really reading whatever we have asked them to read. That is one thing. Second thing, that whatever they are reading, whether they are understanding it or not, that I should also know as a teacher. And thirdly, if they have understood, then they should be able to apply it. And as a teacher, we must know whether they can apply it or not. And if they are not able to apply, that means something is wrong in delivering the content, so we can have some other methodology. But as a teacher, we must know this. Now, what is the technique? What is the technique to answer these queries? And the answer to this is, the name of the technique is DART. Do you know the meaning of DART? DART? That something which we throw on that marked board, and if it is hitting the board at the center, you get maximum points like this. But meaning of DART, that out through our perception, is different. Our meaning of DART is, it is the short form of directed activity related to text. DART. Okay. So what is that? Directed activity. That means something focused with some intention, with some objectives. We are carrying out the activity. Madam, don't write. Everything is there in the book. Everything is there. So it is there in this first book, towards active learning. Okay. And we are going to do that also. So, with our intention, with some objectives in mind, we are executing this activity and is related to text. Okay. Now what is that DART? I have told you the meaning, but what is that DART actually? How we have to execute it? And that we will see. You all will work like a student, and when you go in your class, you can ask students to do this kind of things. And then you ensure that yes, students are reading. Now I will also ensure that you are reading. Okay, so now open the book on page number 13. Active learning techniques, this book. Towards active learning, page number 13. Of course, the previous page, that is on 11 and 12, whatever I have told you, it is explained. Now go to page number 13, 1-3, towards active learning. Now see, there is one example given, and that example is of extraction of iron. Okay, you know that how iron is extracted through blast furnace. That topic is there for 10th standard, I think. And now you have asked students to read. But before that, you have to give some instructions to the students. And which are those instructions? What kind of instructions? So they are mentioned here. I am now reading it for you. Follow each instruction below. Have you got this? Second line? Yes. Follow each instruction below in turn to help you label the diagram of blast furnace. Now that diagram is on the next page. If you turn the page, you will get the diagram. Okay. But see, don't just execute all the instructions simultaneously. वो game में है ना. After you clear first level, then only you get a chance to play the second level. Then only you get a chance to play third level. Likewise, one by one, you have to follow the instructions, and you have to tell students also, or you can flash instructions one by one. They have to follow the instructions sequentially. अभी instructions किस type के हैं देखिए. Read the whole passage. अभी passage कहाँ से शुरू है? बताइए. हाँ, वो heading का extraction of iron हाँ, और कभी खत्म होता है वो देखिए. On the same page, हाँ, use यहाँ वो पैराग्राफ खत्म हो जाता है. So it is just a sample. So read the whole passage and underline each of the substance that go into the blast furnace. जो पदार्थ ब्लास्ट फर्नेस में हम लोग डाल रहे हैं उसको अंडरलाइन कीजिए. बच्चों को बोलिए पेंसिल से, क्योंकि वो किताब में करेंगे, टेक्स्ट बुक में करेंगे. If they go wrong, they can rub it. Okay, so ask them to underline with pencil. अभी सर पूरा होना चाहिए. हाँ, ये इंस्ट्रक्शन. तो आपको पैसेज पूरा पढ़ना है, कुछ नहीं, सब दिया हुआ है. Only thing is you just have to spot it and underline the things, the substances which are going into the blast furnace. Second instruction I am reading. Now one by one you have to execute. Read the passage again. देखिए, फिर से पढ़ना है and put a circle around each of the substances that come out of the blast furnace. जो blast furnace से बाहर आ रहे हैं वो substance को circle कीजिए. कुछ भी बता सकते हैं, डबल अंडरलाइन कीजिए, स्टार कीजिए, कुछ भी. एंड थर्ड इज by each arrow on the diagram of blast furnace write the names of the correct substance. वो अभी डायग्राम में लेबलिंग करना है. जो आपने अंडरलाइन किया है, सर्कल किया है, वही आएगा. ओके, तो अभी देखिए, आपने बोला ये पढ़ना है, ऐसे नहीं बोला है अभी पढ़ो. You have asked students to follow the instructions one by one. Now you can see in their books that they are underlining, they are making circle. तो आपको evidence मिलेगा कि they are reading it. तो बोलते हैं ना, प्रमाण दिखाइए, ऐसी बात नहीं चलेगी. तो इसका प्रमाण आपको खुद ब खुद मिलेगा कि see that they are reading. Now whether they are understanding it or not, बराबर मार्किंग किया है तो समझ में आ रहा है उनको. नहीं समझ सकते हैं तो वो गलत मार्किंग करेंगे. So from the markings you can make out whether they have understood or not. They may go wrong, but you can make out. And the third thing, whether they can apply it or not. ये diagram है ना. So whatever they have read, whatever they have marked, now they have to apply the knowledge at proper place some other place. So that application is also there. Okay, so I'll just give you 3-4 minutes, not more than that. Now you read the passage, you underline, you read the passage, you circle and try to label the diagram. Come on, fast. Of course, this is not a